everybody. It's Jeff here from JazzWire. Welcome to the guided listening. Today, we're going to be listening to the Dave Holland quintet and a very cool tune of his called Jumpin In. A lot here to talk about. Before we do, I want to let you know we have about 200 people in the free trial for JazzWire right now. JazzWire is built for adult musicians, amateurs, playing on the side, semi-pro people like you. All over the world. We've got folks from 25 different countries inside JazzWire, and we work together in a really personal way. It's a way where you can take what you want, you can leave what you want, but a place to really get a lot of fantastic, very personal, community-oriented answers and do a lot of playing together. So I hope you'll take the free trial along with so many other folks. We'd love to welcome you in. So let's talk about this. This tune, Jumpin In. So this is from 1984, Dave Holland Quintet. So Dave Holland has led incredible bands, so much great music, a lot of his own compositions. This is one of those. And the band is bass, drums, and then three horns. So Dave Holland on bass, of course. We have Steve Ellington on drums, a drummer whose name, you know, we don't hear as often as many, but this guy had a fantastic career through the 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 2000s, recorded and played with a bunch of folks. Look him up on Wikipedia. Amazing, amazing bio and fantastic player. So Steve Ellington, who was, I think, a great nephew of Duke Ellington, and Dave Holland. Then the three horns, Julian Priester on trombone, Steve Coleman on alto saxophone, and Kenny Wheeler on trumpet. So a really fantastic band. What I'll say is this tune is borrowing from the Ornette Coleman sort of approach. And what we would call this, you'll hear it, is, let's call it time, no changes, is a way people kind of talk about this. Hey, let's play a free tune. What do you mean free? Well, let's play time, no changes. Okay, let's go. So that means something to musicians. So time, meaning we're in time. It's not free of time. So the pulse is there. The feel is there, so they're playing swing, as you would hear. So it's swinging, and everything that means for bass and drums. Swinging on the ride cymbal, walking the bass. But there are no chord changes, no harmony. So it's wide open melodically and harmonically, but very, well, call it strict. You know, we're in time, we're at a given tempo, that never changes, and we're always playing with that jazz swing feel. So, do we know what this is going to sound like? Well, let's give it a try. This is something that Ornette's band was excellent at, and of course, that threw open the gates to so many great players. So, I have done lots of this kind of playing, but I'm not expert at this free kind of playing the way some people have dedicated their careers to this. Well, so I haven't done that, but I really love it. It's very intriguing, and it actually helps us play more traditional music. I'm firmly convinced that free playing has a lot to offer us pedagogically too. So inside JazzWire, we get into different aspects to free playing, not so that we can go on stage, because people pay a lot for that kind of thing, as I'm sure you know. Lie. So no, it's not that. It's to make us better musicians, to open up our ears, and to make us play Take the A Train better, frankly. So let's jump in. This is Dave Holland Quintet, Jumpin In. That's the melody. Second time. And now, solos. So we hear bass and drums accompanying, and all three horns playing at the same time. Let's stop for a second. Okay, so maybe that sounds like a hot mess to you. Like, who ever heard? How's that allowed? Three horns playing at the same time. You ever heard traditional jazz? Dixieland. Yeah, three horns playing at the same time. Trombone, trumpet, clarinet, traditionally. Absolutely. So it's easy to hear this as just being, you know, noise and a mess and breaking all the rules and how dare they. But this goes back to the absolute beginnings of jazz as well. So I just kind of want to give you that little framework. And so what you'll hear is they start playing together and then a soloist emerges, and you'll hear a trombone solo in the first instance. And then you'll hear, same kind of thing. It sort of devolves or evolves into all the horns playing together, and then another voice comes out. At some point, they come back to the melody a bit. One quick thing I'll tell you about the melody is it's 12 measures long. And anybody who knows, about playing jazz or playing the blues, 12 measures, that's a blues, right? 4 measures plus 4 measures plus 4 measures, 12. Here's the thing. Dave Holland's melody is 3 measures long, and then 3 measures long, another 3, and another 3. So he, right out of the gate, reinvents and question things. Not 4-measure phrases, but 3-measure phrases. Ba-doom doom dum doom ding 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 doom da da da. Ba-doom doom ding 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 doom da da da. Bo da 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 ba do da. So I can't sing, clearly, but it's 4 iterations of 3 measures. Ingenious. Let's get back to it. And now that phrasing is gone. Now it's just time and feel. And now the band is a trio: bass, drums, trombone. No chords, no form, but tempo and feel. It's interesting to listen to any one of those 3 voices and hear what they're saying or what they're contributing. It is the trombone solo, but Dave Holland's bass line, hard to hear, but it is fascinating, the shapes and where he takes it. It's pretty interesting. So the other horns come in, trumpet and alto join him. The texture changes, a very thick texture, right, after that sparse texture of the trio. Pedaling on the bass, that sustained tone. So now we're into an alto sax solo. So Steve Coleman on alto sax, very, very distinctive voice and excellent at playing in this style. He really has his own sound and concept of melody, harmony, and rhythm. He really developed his own thing. Really cool to listen to just the bass and the drums. Take the sax solo aside and just bass and drums and how they're interacting. So the end of that solo, now everybody comes in, starts talking together again. melody. Woo! So that was a cool interlude of bringing the melody back. Now we're into the trumpet solo. Trio. Kenny Wheeler's shapes are so interesting. Just the high, low, the peaks, the valleys. Amazing. And again, the pedaling and how Dave Holland and Steve Ellington on drums are, you know, like a rolling waves almost. Very interesting. All right, we've got 3 horn solos. Dave Holland steps forward. And the time is still moving ahead, right? You hear way back, it's kind of low in the mix, but sticks on hi-hat. The time is still there. Quote of the melody there. So cool little motivic moments in his playing, right? It's not random. And then back into his role as providing the pulse and the feel. And listen to the bass now. He's not walking per se, but still providing pulse and feel. Different ways to accompany. And now we have to get back to the melody. See if you can figure out how we get there. Come in slow. Awesome. I love that. I love that. So the melody out. So it was sort of anarchy. And then it seemed like Steve Coleman on alto, doom, doom, dum, doom, doom, dum, dum, started quoting the melody or playing the melody, but slower than anybody else was playing. And the band kind of came in slowly, and they kind of completed the 12-measure melody. It was like the car wouldn't quite turn over on a cold morning. And then maybe it was Kenny Wheeler that came in with the second iteration, the second chorus of the melody in time. It was such a great organic moment, and they meant to do that. There was no way Steve Coleman forgot the tempo. It was a cool way of sort of stretching the fabric of what was going on and toying with things a little bit. So I get that that style of jazz is a maybe that's something we have to work our way into or learn. If the first time I heard jazz, you played me that, I don't know if I would have liked jazz very much. But as we get into it, it's the same with abstract art or modern art or, non-representational photography or whatever it is. But there's so much room for emotion and expressiveness and humor And yeah, and we kind of heard it all there. Kenny Wheeler for one of my favorite musicians. I was going to say trumpet players, but musicians. One of the great free players, going back decades and decades and decades and decades. Great players. And so Dave Holland has always had these groups where his compositions are challenging the listener and challenging the musicians to sort of get outside the standard ideas of what melody is or accompaniment is or what phrasing is. Writing this hummable, memorable song, but in 3-measure phrases. I can think of other songs of his that I've played. That's the same thing. It's 3-measure phrases or 5-measure phrases. Most melodies you can think of are 4. And so maybe you didn't even know that, right? But so he's all about sort of toying with things. So that is a recording that will definitely reward repeated listenings. And that style of playing, like I said, it's 2024 now. That was recorded in 1984. I can't believe that was 45 years ago, or whatever the math is. And that was decades past when this sort of playing kind of came on the scene. So there is nothing new about that. We refer to modern art as being, art from the 40s and 50s sometimes, or modern jazz, right? So we need another word, I suppose, contemporary. But hopefully you enjoyed listening to that. And with any of these guided listenings, I hope this compels you to go back and listen to the recording, first of all, without me yakking over top, and even exploring some of the other tunes on the album. So the album is called Jumpin In, Dave Holland Quintet. I was so happy to be reminded of that tune recently, and that's actually a song I brought into one of my in-person masterclass groups, a group that meets twice a month all through the year, 24 times a year. And I wrote that out and brought that to a rehearsal last night. So these folks sight-read it the other night, and I'm excited to work that up and play it on a concert with them. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here for guided listening. Please jump into the free trial and join a lot of your friends from all over the world. And I'll be excited to work with you inside JazzWire. See you there.